Since we've covered games featuring family troubles, here's something in the murder mystery genre, and we're featuring not one, but two games. So stay tuned. Today we're featuring Entwined, Strings of Deception, released in October 2011, and Entwined, The Perfect Murder, released in September 2014 by Urchin Games and published by HH Games. Strings of Deception begins when famous inventor Christopher Edward was found dead at the bottom of the stairs, murdered apparently by someone who broke into his mansion. Enter the player's character, Carla Robbins, the no-nonsense detective with a cool outfit, who was tasked with investigating the case. And it seems that many people stand to benefit from his death or are reluctant to help the case. His young wife, his young and also beautiful secretary, his butler, the housekeeper, and the family doctor. At the start of the game, there will be a pop-up showing the only parts that can be adjusted by the player, such as the sound volume for music, effects, and voice, on whether one wants to play on full screen mode. Oh no, I only want to play a game of finding tiny objects in a small window. Widescreen correction, and custom cursor. Strings of Deception has two game modes, normal and hard mode. The case file is located on the bottom left-hand corner of the interface. In it, you can see the case, summary, the post-mortem report, observation, and active tasks. These get regularly updated as you go along the game. On the right lower-hand corner is the map showing the blueprint of each room in the mansion. But that's just about it. This won't show you where an action can be done, nor would allow you to teleport from one room to another. On the right-hand edge of the case file, you'll see the list of suspects whose personal details, their interaction with Carla, and case breakthroughs related to these interactions can be found.
Love and marriage, love and marriage.
Christopher and Samantha are happily married, or so we think. Turns out, Christopher is romancing his beautiful secretary, and Samantha seems to be hooking up with hunky dog Charles. The butler and the housekeeper might be onto something together, but that's not important, and it's too icky to even think about it. Slags! Slags everywhere! The sequel game, The Perfect Murder, brings us to another crime. This time, the victim is top lawyer Adam Turner, who was found slumped dead over the picnic table in the garden, with a gunshot wound on his back. Like the previous game, there are usual suspects who all stand benefiting from the dead, well-off victim. Once again, Carla Robbins from the Department of Murdered Rich Men is called back to crack the case, as you do. Unlike its predecessor, The Perfect Murder has three game modes, normal, hard, and detective mode. Other than that, the game interface is relatively the same. The hog scenes in both games are made mostly like a junk pile, like a college co-ed's bedroom. Aside from that, there are plenty of mini-games with decent amount of difficulty. Solving some of them often leads to the opening of a new room to investigate, or a hog scene. Although there are no collectibles per se, in the Strings of Deception, for example, there are things that need to be collected such as 17 fingerprints and 20 pieces of jewelry, which are essential for your detective work. Another thing about these games is that the objective system is crystal clear, with a massive announcement and a large box popping out either at the beginning of the game, after finishing a hog, a mini puzzle, or after picking up an important clue, so there's little chance of you feeling lost on what your objectives should be. But if ever you do get stuck on ideas on where to go next, you can click the on-screen hint button. In Strings of Deception, it opens to a mini strategy guide, while in The Perfect Murder, it has a feature that allows you to jump to that location.
Okay, I might have gone inside, then I heard a gunshot and I ran like hell. I didn't do it, believe me.
If you keep lying to the police, you'll find yourself in deep trouble. Take him away.
Unlike the other contemporary games of its time, which relies on text during its dialogue scenes, both games have voice acting, which can sound a bit over the top at times, which reminds me of cheesy 80s action movies. Sometimes, as one investigates throughout the mansions, we get to see Carla's thought process, although these were in text only. Now, tell me what you know. So, you want to hear my opinion? Well, I'll tell you everything, but I must warn you that it's got plenty of spoilers. One main bone that I will pick here is that both games are relatively short, especially The Perfect Murder, which is why I decided to feature both of them in this episode, although you can say that it makes them a perfect casual game. Although these games follow the same formula, the storylines themselves are decent enough. Both opening scenes show the victims a few seconds before their deaths. In Strings of Deception, Christopher Edwards was shown sleeping on his bed, but woke up screaming upon seeing his assailant. Later, he was shown lying face down at the bottom of the stairs in a pool of blood. The newspaper article reported that he died apparently from a head injury inflicted by a heavy object, although the case summary stated that he appeared to have been pushed down the stairs while also sustaining a stab wound on the right shoulder. I'm guessing that either this was a fake info given to media to prevent alerting the real killer, or this was just a continuity fault from the game devs. Based on the given preliminary forensics report, Edwards was already dead by the time he fell downstairs. Later, it was revealed that he actually died from the poison, disguised as a drug treatment for depression, administered by his own physician, Dr. Charles Mathis, in order to win over the now rich widow, Samantha Edwards. In The Perfect Murder, like Christopher Edwards, Adam Turner was later revealed to have been killed by poison, administered in this case by his own sister, Lisa Brooks. It was initially thought that Turner died from a gunshot wound administered by his friend Philip Walter. To anyone out there who has an experience in criminal law, should Philip be charged with murder too if the victim is already dead? Comments below. Which is why I think between the two games, Strings of Deception had a more satisfying ending than its sequel. Of course, we're not going to discuss much about the visual limitations, as this was the usual case for hidden object games of its time. Some gamers would complain about the game's difficulty brought by lack of directional help, and for not pointing out something on the scene at hand. Yes, the hint button is refillable, and you can use as much hints as you can, but if you're so used to the almost helicopter style of guiding by the hint buttons in more recent HOPA games, this might prove frustrating to you. Which brings out the issue of whether requiring the game devs to provide us with all the help that we want or need is actually beneficial. On the other angle of this issue, one can point out that some newer games from other genres also have the non-linear approach to the game surroundings. Or are we, HOPA gamers, now getting too spoiled that it's affecting our problem-solving capabilities? Let me know your thoughts. It's safe to consider these games as Marmites. Either you'll love them, or we'll swear them off your life. For me, it's the right kind of game if you're a murder mystery fan who doesn't want to burn all day solving the mystery. As of this video, it seems that Urchin Games is still ongoing, although they are not producing much, and their last HOPA game was back in 2017, which I hope to feature sometime in the future. So that wraps up our Throwback Thursday gaming. Once again, this is the HOPA Gamer, and thank you for watching. So be sure to be on